Stepping in the ring, I feel the crowd when they root. They say the kid slick, every jab is absolute. Stationary back step, catch it, then I shoot. Said you can't copy what I do, cause I'm the living proof. I set you up against a crook, I hope you know your fate. Cause I'm grinding every day, I don't perpetrate. Stay calm through the bull, had to meditate. No cap, no brakes, I'm just crystal great. Hook 'em out and leave 'em shook every time I sway. I'm undisputed with the moves, Crooks paid the way. Said I'm great, got 'em watching everything I say. They steady watching all my fights, Crooks will talk a day. Hard rounds, no doubt, I'm the one they rate. If I feign in any throw, no it's checkmate. Every punch time well, never punch late. I said they know who run the tape, man, this Crooks the great.
What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, my people? I said my people. I hope you guys are all doing good. I hope you guys are safe. I hope you guys are healthy. I got a fun stream for y'all today. I really do. All right? Because today we're going to be talking about why Boots Ennis is probably in the worst spot you want to be in when you're a boxer, right? We're going to be going over all this, and I'm going to be explaining to you why he's in a terrible spot and maybe where he could work himself out of it. And then on top of that, I have an announcement for you guys. Obviously, you guys see that I have, damn, my hat's kind of just dipping down low. I don't even know why it's doing that. I do have an announcement for you guys regarding an Undisputed tournament that is going to be coming up. All right. So with that being said, man, let's get in the chat, man. Yo, what's good, Mike? What's good, Lamont? What's good, Gotham? How you doing? How you guys feeling? How you living? Now, if you guys do remember towards the end of last year, hold on, I'm pulling up the chat on my phone, so I don't gotta be looking at the screen. If you guys remember, I did tell you guys towards the end of last year that going forward with the channel, I was not just going to be doing gaming all 2026. I want to start to transition into making IRL boxing content. So talking about boxing news, talking about boxing fights, as well as like MMA fights going forward as well. Let me just take this damn hat off. Hold on real quick, guys. My hat's kind of just making me mad. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to take my damn hat off, man. My hat be looking crooked. And I don't even like that, bro. I don't even like that. But back to what I was saying, man. So you guys know, if you guys remember, I was telling you guys about that. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. And then towards the end, I'll have the announcement for you guys on how we're going to be doing this. All right. So first things first, man. First things first. Mr. Boots Ennis is in an absolutely terrible spot. Because as I was doing my research and looking through, he's in a really bad spot if he doesn't get this Virgil Ortiz fight. Because I was wondering, I was like, what made Oscar De La Hoya start to throw out these demands of Virgil getting 60% as opposed to Boots getting 40% with 5% going to the winner? That's the offer that he threw out to Eddie Hearn and Boots Ennis, right? So I was sitting there, I was like, man, where does he get that from? You know, because I don't feel like, in my opinion, that Virgil Ortiz is a bigger draw than Boots Ennis. I feel like they're both kind of in the same stratosphere in terms of their draw. So as I started to do my research and I started to look through it, right, I was like, okay, now I see why Oscar's doing it, all right? So I'm going to make myself a little smaller here, and I'm going to pull up exactly what I mean and why I say that Boots is in a terrible, terrible spot. All right, so let me pull up Exhibit A right here. All right, so let's go ahead. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna look at this together, and I want to hear your guys' opinions. All right, so if we pull up the list of boxing champions right now at 154, which is both the weight classes that Virgil and Boots Ennis are champions at, right? So if we look at junior middleweight, the WBO champion is Xander Zayas. The IBF is Bakram. Then we got the WBA being a boss. And then we got the WBC champion being Sebastian Fundora, who we all love to hate if you're an Undisputed fan. But let me make this a little bit smaller so that way you guys can see, because I'm paying attention on my phone. I'm kind of cutting things off here a little bit. All right. So if you guys see Boots, the new bud, people ducking him, it's hard for him to get big name fights. Okay. So we're going to get into that. All right, and now why I'm saying that Boots is in a terrible spot is because if you look at this champions list right here, these are all solid champions. But if you look at where he is at in terms of the interim champion that he is the WBA interim junior middleweight champion. So he would be technically the mandatory for a boss. Now, where that comes into being a massive problem for him is that a boss is scheduled to fight Xander Zayas on the 31st of this month. Now, you guys probably might not have heard of that because that fight is happening the same night as Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez. Why they booked that fight on the same night as Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, I will never understand, but that's neither here nor there. You feel what I'm saying? So Abbas and Xander Zayas are scheduled to fight. And if everything goes according to plan, Xander Zayas more than likely will be the WBA champion. And his mandatory would be Boots Ennis. Now, let me tell you guys something. In case y'all are new to this boxing scene, they will never, and I repeat, never allow Xander Zayas to fight Boots Ennis right now. That fight is just not going to happen. They have way too much money invested in Xander Zayas. And I think it's fair to say that in the next 6 to 7 years, Xander Zayas could potentially be the face of boxing. He could. He really, really could. He's got the look. He's got the fight style. He's got the pedigree. He's got everything that you would want to build a superstar on. And he's already the youngest boxing champion in the world right now. I believe he's 23? I want to say Xander Zayas is 23. If I'm not mistaken, let me look it up on my phone so I ain't got to pull up too many tabs. Let me look it up. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Xander Zayas. Yeah, he's 23. He's 23. So, Xander Zayas, 23 years old. They're not going to allow him to fight Boots Ennis right now. They'll do everything that they can to prevent him from fighting Boots Ennis right now. So that fight really is just off the table. So, in terms of Boots fighting for who he would technically be the mandatory for, it's just not going to happen. Xander's not going to fight him. So he's in a tough spot right there because who he's interim champion for is going to be somebody that they're not going to allow him to fight. They're not going to book that fight. Yo, what's good, KO Puncher? How you doing, Bumble? What's good? Zayas not fighting Boots unless he's on heels like Shannon. Yeah. So that's not going to happen, right? So let's take away the interim title away from Boots Ennis, right? And let's say the next biggest name for him to go up against would be Sebastian Fundora, right? Who we all know was scheduled to fight Keith Thurman. I believe he broke his hand, if I remember correctly, was the injury for Sebastian Fundora. He was scheduled to fight Keith Thurman. But here is the issue with a Fundora Boots Ennis matchup. Virgil Ortiz is the mandatory for the WBC, which is Sebastian Fundora. And that's where we're getting the Oscar De La Hoya coming in and demanding more money for Virgil Ortiz, right? Because Virgil Ortiz is already set up to fight somebody, to fight the mandatory, to be the mandatory for Sebastian Fundora, right? And even if Fundora doesn't fight him, Virgil Ortiz has the offer on the table to fight Earl Spence. So that's a big money fight in itself because he'll either be fighting for the championship in Sebastian Fundora, or he could potentially take the Earl Spence Jr. fight, right? So he's got big fights lined up. But in order for Boots to jump over Virgil Ortiz, the WBC would have to allow that, and that the chances of that happening are slim to none. They're not going to allow Virgil Ortiz to get jumped over by Boots Ennis. So, again, he's in a really, really bad spot because the only other option that he could have to actually go up and be a champion would be for him to fight Bakram, right? Now, that's not a bad fight, not a bad option for him to go up and fight Bakram. The issue is Bakram is scheduled to fight on the 31st of this month as well against Josh Kelly. Why that's an issue is because he has to hope that Bakram sparks Josh Kelly. Because chances are that Bakram's going to come out of that with some injuries. He's going to want to take some time off after that fight. He's not going to want to immediately jump into another camp. So let's say that Bakram beats Josh Kelly, because they're saying that the winner of Josh Kelly and Bakram could be an option for Boots, right? If everything goes the way that it's, not everything goes the way that it's supposed to go. Let me say it like this. If Bakram is to beat Josh Kelly, we wouldn't see Bakram fight again against somebody like Boots until maybe the middle to late part of this year. Maybe. And that's if Bakram will even want to fight Boots Ennis. Because like we were saying in the chat, Boots is going to have the same problem that Terrence Crawford was having, which is he's so skilled that people aren't going to want to give him the chance to beat them. But from what I've heard, if I remember correctly, Bakram tossed around the idea of fighting Boots Ennis. So if he was to fight Boots, that fight wouldn't happen until later on this year, which would mean Boots would be inactive for most of the year, which starts to play into his age factor. Now, for those of you guys that don't know, Boots Ennis is 28 years old. He will be 29 years old in June. He will be 29 years old. He is in his physical prime for boxing right now. So if he was to wait all the way until the end of the year to fight, he would be 29 years old going into his 30 year, having only fought once, maybe potentially being a champion. That's, if everything goes according to plan and Bakram actually fights him. Now, the issue that comes up with Boots as well is Boots is really kind of hunting big name fights right now. He is. With him being the interim champion, it only makes sense for him to want big fights. So him fighting what they would call quote unquote tomato can fights, he might not want to do. He might not want to fight somebody like a Mazurmov, right? He might not want to do that. But that might be the route he has to go, to be honest with you. So he's in a really, really bad spot right now. And that's why you guys see Oscar coming out and confidently saying, hey, you know what? We need Virgil to get 60. Boots could get 40. Because they see he's in a terrible spot. Because really, all of the other champions are really tied up right now. Bakram's got to fight on the 31st. Sebastian Fundora is still healing up. And who knows if they're going to make the Keith Thurman fight again. And if not, then they'll probably more than likely move on to the Virgil Ortiz fight if Virgil doesn't end up fighting Earl Spence. And Abbas and Xander Zayas are fighting each other. He's in a bad spot, man. He's in a really, really bad spot. Especially when it comes to where he's at with his age. He's not a super young prospect. He's in his prime right now. And as he starts to get older and older, if he's not getting these big fights, it might start to create a little bit of a problem because he's going to want to stack up his money. So, is there a chance that we see that the situation that he's in forces Boots Ennis to have to take less money to fight Virgil Ortiz? Maybe. I think there's a high chance that, unfortunately, in order for Boots to fight Virgil, he's gonna have to take some kind of percentage that's not really in his favor, because the cards really just don't fall for him unless he's willing to sit out and fight Bakram, and he's got to hope that everything goes good for Bakram, right? We got to hope that Bakram actually beats Josh Kelly and that Josh Kelly wants to come in and fight Boots, because if Josh Kelly wins, he might not want to fight Boots either. And it's not like Boots could say, well, you need to fight me. He's not the interim. He's not the mandatory for the IBF. He's the mandatory for the WBA. So he's in a really, really bad spot, man. In a really, really bad spot. Exactly why we get rid of the belts and the top tier fighters have to fight, I don't know. I got Virgil winning that. Yo, Moses was good. Kelly low-key got a chance to do something crazy. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying it's not a foregone conclusion that Bakram's going to beat Josh Kelly either. So, again, Boots is in a bad spot. He's in a really, really bad spot. So, that might force his hand to have to actually take the Virgil Ortiz fight with a percentage that he doesn't want. So that's why when you guys are hearing Oscar De La Hoya coming out, and now there's this whole thing with Virgil Ortiz suing Oscar De La Hoya, so that could even prolong the issue. Virgil might not even be able to fight this year, right? He might not be able to fight this year because he, in case you guys didn't know, he is currently suing Oscar De La Hoya, if I'm not mistaken. He's suing Oscar De La Hoya for, I think, breach of contract or something like that. I can't remember exactly what the legal terms are for what he's suing Oscar De La Hoya for, but he is suing Oscar De La Hoya, so that fight might even be off the table. Now, if he's out for a prolonged period of time and Fundora goes and fights Thurman and Boots jumps into the WBC rankings and fights somebody over there, and there's a clamoring for it, and Virgil is still, has a long layoff time because of the legal issues, then I could see, Boots working himself into the Sebastian Fundora picture. But I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs for Boots right now. There really, really is. And he's in a bad spot. Not because he's not a good fighter, because Boots Ennis is a very, very good fighter. He is. He just needs to get a massive mega fight to really put him on the map, which is why he wants to fight Virgil Ortiz, because those two going at it, they're the next up and coming boxers, right? The next superstars. That's why we want to see that matchup. But if Virgil Ortiz is out of the way, I mean, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But Virgil might be in a bad spot as well. He could potentially, but he's not in as bad of a spot as Boots is. Because Virgil has options. He is the mandatory for the WBC to fight Fundora. He still has the Earl Spence Jr. fight on the table, right? Even though, from what the rumblings are, Earl, it looks like the odds-on favorite to get the Earl Spence Jr. fight is going to be Tim Tszyu. That's who they're putting as kind of the opponent that is probably going to be the comeback fight for Earl. But it's not a foregone conclusion that Virgil's not going to fight him. Because Earl versus Virgil in Texas does big numbers. And that's a fight that, if Virgil was to win that, would make him the superstar that he wants to be. No joke. So, I don't know. Yo, Frank, what's good? Bruh, Ennis turned down the fight twice, by the way. Which fight are you talking about? By the way, welcome to the stream, brother. By the way, hey, shout out to the 26 people that are in here, man. I appreciate y'all. Make sure if you guys are new to slap that subscribe button, as well as slap that like button. Turkey offered him life-changing money and Virgil signed on. So, yeah, that matters. I don't know necessarily. I heard that from what Eddie Hearn was saying, right, that there was a contract. They all sat down. Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya, and Eddie Hearn sat down, and they had a contract agreed upon that Boots supposedly signed, but that Virgil didn't. So you're hearing controversial stories from both sides, right? Which is a PR move. One group is going to blame it on the other one's going to blame it on them, and going back and forth. I'm just more of telling you guys why Virgil Ortiz, or not Virgil Ortiz, but Boots Ennis he's in kind of a hard spot. He's in a tough spot because, he's just in a really bad spot. Because in order for him to get a title shot, he would need to go against either Bakram or Sebastian Fundora. And that Sebastian Fundora fight probably more than likely is off the table with Virgil being the interim champion. And Bakram is fighting this month. So he wouldn't even get a chance to challenge Bakram until later on this year at best. And that's if, Bakram is still the IBF champion. He could lose his belt. So, I don't know. If I was Boots, he might end up having to fight somebody that's not a champion. He might. Or he's either got that option, or he's going to have to take, the pay cut money that Oscar is offering him. But no, back in November, Turkey offered Ennis the Ortiz fight, and then it said he needed 2 tune-ups, and Turkey said F off. I mean, I agree. I'll have to do the research on it. But if that's the case, that's the case. Then he's still in a bad spot. But from what his promoter is saying is that they had an agreement that they had already agreed to. Virgil Ortiz wasn't cool with it. Virgil Ortiz's side wasn't cool with it. Not Virgil Ortiz, because I believe Virgil wants to fight Boots, and Boots wants to fight Virgil. But here come the politics with that, right? Like, that's what it is. Boots is a duck. He turned down the $6 million Virgil is asking for now. Wait, hold on. He turned how the 6 MS Virgil is asking for now. The 6 M's Virgil is asking for now. Again, it's the politics, but I don't know. The route that he might end up having to go is to go for the IBF. That's really, if he doesn't take the Virgil fight, he'll have to go for the IBF. Because like I said, there's no way that the WBA and the WBO being Xander Zayas, if Xander Zayas does win, if a boss beats Xander Zayas, I can see it. I could see a boss fighting Boots, because obviously Boots is the mandatory. He's the interim, right? I could see a boss fighting him. But if Xander Zayas wins, there's no way in hell they're going to allow Xander Zayas to fight Boots Ennis. That's just not going to happen. Now, if Xander was a champion for a long time, like if Xander was 25, 26 and had experience, then you got a different subject to talk about. But if we're just talking about Xander Zayas right now at 23, that just became champion, not going to happen because they're trying to build him. That's why that fight between the boss and Xander Zayas is happening in Xander Zayas' home country. Because they're trying to build him. They're trying to skyrocket him to the moon. And that's why I said in a couple years, you could potentially see Xander Zayas being the face of boxing. Because he has the look, he has the fight style, he's a champion. We could see it. Yo, what's good, KO? How you doing, brother? Boots versus The Dream. If he KOs him or beat him, then Ortiz. You want him to fight Earl? That would. Anybody trying to drop the Discord for the Fight Night Revival? Yo, Samuel, how you doing, brother? Bro, you should drop the link for links for boxing chat. What you mean? What you mean? But I want to hear your guys' opinions though. If you guys were Boots, what would you do? Would you guys take the Virgil fight and be at because there's a lot of people that think right now, and obviously Boots is one of them, that think that he's going to spark Virgil. A lot of people think that he's going to beat Virgil. Have people come on your show and talk. I mean, that would be dope. I'd be down to do something like that. I would. But this is kind of like just a tester because I've never really done a talk show, right? I just wanted to come on because I told you guys I wanted to talk about real life boxing stuff and start getting into the IRL boxing world. So here it is. But if you guys were Boots, man, who you guys fighting? But all right, man. So the next thing that before we get back into, real life boxing, right, is, and I know what a lot of you guys came here for, was the Undisputed tournament. Now, I've been talking to you guys. Haney? What you mean, got him? Why'd you say Haney? Errol retired? He's coming back, though, Smooth. He's coming back. He's coming back. They've been talking about Virgil and Tim Tszyu. Tim Tszyu is the leading candidate, from what I hear right now, to fight Virgil. Or to fight Earl. Who think next week? Who do I think next week is gonna win? Teo or Shakur? Yo, Mr. Ballout, what's good? I see him getting dropped by Virgil, but rallying back to KO him. Ortiz gasses. Are you talking about Boots? Yo, Tetro, what's good? What's going on? What's going on? If somebody make a PlayStation account, will the records reset? Yo, Jando, yeah. If you make a new account, yeah, it'll reset. Oh, Malad, what's good, man? Yeah, it'll reset, dog. It'll reset. But, hold on. I'm going to make myself bigger right here and get myself out of the corner. So, I'm going to make myself bigger right here. Alright. I mean, that fight's real interesting. I think Boots beats Virgil, but Virgil has a chance. Virgil has a really, I think it's, if I had to pick, I would say, ironically, 60-40. I'm leaning towards Boots. Fighting Ortiz, it will open up more doors. I agree. Boots fighting Virgil, it's going to put him on the map, and it's going to open up, because if he beats Virgil, then he'll be in line to fight Fundora. Then he could take out Fundora, if he, or not take out Fundora, but he could fight Fundora. And if he was to beat Fundora, then he could go and fight the IBF, get 2 belts, and then blam. You know, we're 2-3 years later, Xander Zayas, 26. I mean, Boots will be, what, 30? 31? 32? He'll be 31, 32. Then you can make that fight between him and Xander Zayas. Because at that time, the way that they're building Xander Zayas right now, he's going to be one of the faces of boxing, man. And that's a mega fight. And then if he beats, I mean, what more do you have to argue, right? I mean, you just smooth right into the sunset. 32, 33 years old, you made your millions. What can people say? You were applying to the, oh, yeah. Oh, he's talking about Haney. Why would he fight Haney, bro? Why would Boots fight Haney? Boots is at 154. Haney's at what, 147? Why would he fight that? Why would he drop down to 147 to fight Haney? Yeah, Haney's the WBO in welterweight. Why would he drop back down? For that, he could have just stuck around. He could have just stuck around and waited for those guys to move up. But he said he can't make the weight. So it would make no sense for him to drop down and fight Devin Haney. And one of these young dudes can be the face of boxing. I disagree, bro. There's a lot of young dudes that can be the face of boxing. And Xander Zayas is up there. And if not Ortiz, Keith Thurman. Yeah. Haney ain't it. Yeah, it would make no sense. Haney would have to move up to 154. Boots ain't going to drop down to go fight Devin Haney. And Devin Haney's got his own people to go through. Devin Haney's got to go and beat the Murderers Row at 147 with all those guys. More specifically, if Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios, you know that fight's happening with Ryan Garcia. So that's the fight that Haney's going to fight. He's hoping and praying that Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios, which is a tough fight because Mario Barrios is a very tough fight. He is. Do I think Ryan can beat him? Yes. And I only think that because of the way that I seen Barrios look against Pac-Man. Do I think Ryan Garcia can beat him? Yes, but only if Ryan Garcia shows up. Not the Ryan Garcia that showed up against Rolly. The Ryan Garcia that showed up against Devin Haney. The Ryan Garcia that showed up against oh my god, man. I'm forgetting what that dude's name is now, man. The dude that just beat Kenny Sims. Oh my god, let me look him up. Hold on. Oh, Oscar Duarte. The Ryan that fought Oscar Duarte. If he shows up, got a good fight. They would have already. Not really. They're up and coming, man. The faces of boxing were already way ahead at this point. Boots almost 30, never fought. I'm not talking about just Boots. You look at Xander Zayas. Xander Zayas is 23. Champion. Rolly, bro, you're messing around with Rolly being the face of boxing. You got to be kidding me with Rolly being the face of boxing. That's not happening. Rolly is gonna have a. If Rolly was, and I want to hear the chat's opinion. If Rolly was to fight Conor Benn, who you guys have winning that fight? You trolling, bro. You got to be trolling with the Rolly Romero. That's crazy. That's crazy. That really is. Because that's a fight that I think would make sense. Conor Benn trying to come out and fight. I think Conor Benn should really stay away from. He should really stay away from Devin Haney. That's not a good fight for Conor Benn. Rolly is forever. Rolly is good for entertainment, but he's not a champion I'm putting stock into yet. Rolly is life. Yo, precisely. What's good, bro? You crazy, bro. Rolly is not a guy that I would say stack your money on, man. Conor beats Hugger Haney. Bro. Yo, KO, get up out of here, bro. You just a troll, man. You just a troll. Yeah, cause there ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro. If Devin Haney and Conor Benn were to actually fight, that's why Devin Haney's calling out Conor Benn. Because he's obviously a big name coming off, the Chris Eubank Jr. fights, right? He's a big name now. And you got to pay attention. Devin is smart, man. Devin and Bill, they smart. They smart, man. They know how to be picking. They know how to be picking these fights that they take. They are. Like the Brian Norman Jr. fight, although I love Brian Norman Jr., he has one of the best knockouts I've ever seen. I knew it was going to be a tough fight for Brian Norman Jr. because of the speed. The speed of Devin Haney. And the jab of Devin Haney, I knew was going to give him issues. Yeah, you're good. You're good, KO. You're good. Yeah, Conor Benn he's not beating Devin, bro. He's not beating Devin. But Rolly is a champion, though. I mean, he's a WBA champion. I mean, what can you say? But I had no idea. I had no idea Pitbull Cruz was the WBC junior welterweight champion. I had no idea. I just thought they were playing when they were talking about Dalton Smith fighting Pitbull. I just thought they were trolling, but that fight could happen. It could happen. It could happen, I guess, man. Yeah, ain't no way. Ain't no way he's beating him. But hey, shout out to the 31 people that are in here, man. Make sure if you guys haven't to slap that like button, man. And I want to hear your guys' opinions, man. What fights do you guys hope to see in 2026? If you guys could matchmake any boxing fights, what would your guys' boxing fights be? Haney, best jab in boxing, will pick apart Ben. I don't know if it's the best jab in boxing, but it's a very, very good jab. Very, very good jab. And not to mention the fact that Conor Ben's having to drop down. He's having to drop back down to 147. He hasn't been fighting at that weight. He was a big dude. Benavidez versus Opataya. So I was actually just talking to somebody about that because Jai Opataya, for those of you guys that didn't know, just signed with Zuffa Boxing, which is the controversial boxing organization that Dana White is starting up. Jai Opataya just signed over there. Turkey's going to need to throw a lot of money. He's going to need to throw a lot of money. Not at Benavidez, because I think Benavidez would do the fight. He would have to throw a lot of money at Jai Opataya. Because now Zuffa Boxing being a legit promotion, that can kind of be tough. Book Gervonta versus Shakur versus the Shakur tail winner. That wouldn't be a bad fight. It wouldn't be a bad fight. Or Bam versus Inoue. If I want to see whoever wins. I want to see whoever wins from Inoue versus Nakatani, because that fight's going to happen. It's going to happen. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what? That fight is going to happen. And not a lot of people are going to see it in the U.S. because it's going to be in Japan. It's going to be in Japan. It's going to be at 3 o'clock in the fucking morning, our time. So unless that fight's going to happen, and you're going to have to stay up early ass in the morning to watch it. Will I be watching it? Hell to the motherfucking yeah. But that fight is a little less intriguing after Nakatani's performance against Hernandez. I feel like people are clamoring for Hernandez to fight Nakatani again. But I think the promoters want Nakatani versus Inoue, because that's what those fights, Inoue versus Picasso and Nakatani versus Hernandez, were supposed to set up. It was kind of just tune-up fights for them to fight each other. But whoever wins out of Nakatani and Inoue, I think Bam should step up and fight him. Because if it's Inoue versus Bam, it's funny that I asked Sean Porter on one of his podcasts, and he did a live, and I asked him, and I actually posted up the short of him giving his response. He was saying that Inoue would have the advantage over Bam right now because of the experience that Inoue has. But if you look at it from a stylistic standpoint and a stylistic matchup, that matchup is fireworks, because both of those guys are technical and they go for knockouts. They're not looking to just go out and get a decision win. They're trying to look for you to knock them out. And Inoue could knock out Bam, and Bam could knock out Inoue. So that matchup would just be crazy. Were there any rumors of Anthony Joshua being in Undisputed because it would be good at DLC? There was rumors a while ago, but I'm not sure. What's wrong with the Smith Pitbull matchup? Also appreciate you talking real boxing. Hey, I appreciate you, Bitty B. Or Bit by Bit. Sorry. I appreciate you, Bit by Bit. Nothing's wrong with it. I just didn't think that was an actual matchup, but I didn't know Isaac Cruz, Pitbull Cruz, was the interim for Dalton Smith. So, I mean, that fight could happen. But from what I'm hearing, do people want to see Roach fight Pitbull again? Could that be a rematch that needs to be run? Because it was a controversial draw. A lot of people thought Roach won. A lot of people thought Pitbull won. You know what I mean? It's a controversial decision. So do they fight again? I don't know. Does Dalton Smith step up and try to challenge, the winner of Murtala and no, I'm sorry, that's wrong weight class. Does he try to step up and fight somebody, like a Gary Antoine Russell? Maybe. Does he try to go for Richardson Hitchens? Maybe. Who knows? Shakur versus Haney or Keyshawn versus Roach? Shakur versus Haney. Smooth, the only issue with Shakur versus Haney would be Shakur would have to go up to 147. And Shakur has said he might not want to do that. He's not too quick in being like, hey, you know what? I'm going to jump up. He said he's going to pick his fights when he wants to move up because in his words, he's a smaller guy. So I believe he said the next fight he's going to have is going to be back down. It's going to be back down at 135. So he's going back down in weight after this fight. As it is, he's fighting Teofimo Lopez up at 140. So, yo, what's going on? What's going on, Trusian? What up? All right, let me look at this chat because y'all been posting some fights in here, man. I appreciate it. Keyshawn versus Roach would not be a bad fight, but Keyshawn has also said Roach would need to go up to. What was his last? His last fight was at 140, so he would need to stay at 140. So I mean, that fight could make sense. That wouldn't be a bad fight. I don't know if Keyshawn would take that fight. Because I think once Keyshawn beats Jermaine Ortiz, I think he's trying to shoot up to bigger and better fights. But Roach could be on the board. He really could. Fuck it, let's do Bivol versus Benavidez. I think that fight's inevitable. Bivol versus Benavidez is inevitable. That fight's going to happen at some point. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Roach versus Pitbull was a fun fight for the fans. It was. I want to see Keyshawn versus Roach. Richardson Hitchens versus Gervonta Davis? No. Gervonta's at 135 and Richardson Hitchens is at 140. So, no. That fight isn't going to happen. That fight is not going to happen. You're talking about him versus Keyshawn Davis. That fight was fire. That fight was supposed to be on the 31st. That was supposed to be the fight that Keyshawn Davis was supposed to fight. He's supposed to be, my bad. When you say Davis, there's a lot of people with Davis as their last names. Keyshawn Davis, Gervonta Davis. I got it mixed up. But that fight wouldn't be a bad fight. Like I said, that fight was supposed to be, that was who Keyshawn was supposed to be fighting on the Shakur Teo card. Does it happen? Maybe. If Teofimo Lopez beats Shakur, do I think he fights Keyshawn Davis? More than likely. Do I think he fights him? Do I think Keyshawn Davis is going to want to shoot up and try to fight Teofimo Lopez? I do. Teo seems real salty about Shakur and his alliance with Bud. Because Bud and Teofimo Lopez, they have beef. They have it's not serious beef, but they don't like each other. So, yeah. Hot take, I think Benavidez stops both Bivol and Better Biev. I think he would stop Better Biev. Bivol, I'm not sure about. That fight is 50-50 with me. No, he's saying Keyshawn. Yeah. I corrected myself. Bivol, I think, is a tough matchup. I would say he's a tough matchup. Bivol has the tools to beat somebody that has the tool set of Benavidez. He can fight off the back foot. He has a good jab. You know, he's got a very, very high boxing IQ, and he can fight off the back foot. That's where Benavidez gets people in trouble. It's not when they're both standing and trading blow for blow. It's when Benavidez starts to just put the pressure on you, and a lot of these guys just can't fight off the back foot against him. He just smothers them. He really, really does. Bivol has the tool set to do that. And that was, case in point, was his second fight with Better BF. He fought very, very well off the back foot. The big question for me would be with Bivol would be, does he have the stamina to be able to do that all fight long? Because against Better BF, a lot of people argued in the second fight that he lost because he started gassing out towards the end of the fight. And at the end of the fight, he looked gassed. He did a lot in the early rounds and in the middle rounds of that fight to be able to secure the win before it got into the later rounds. But he did start to gas. So does he have the gas tank, especially coming off a layoff, off of the surgeries that he had? Does he have the gas tank to be able to effectively fight off the back foot all fight long? That would be the question. Because skill set for skill set, I think Bivol gives Benavidez a lot of trouble. Benavidez' speed is a lot to handle, and his volume. His volume is a lot to handle as well. His speed and volume, and then just his presence. He's a big fucking dude. Benavidez is a big dude, bro. I love watching David Benavidez fight. I really, really do. I really, really do. I love watching him fight. I love watching Bivol fight. I love watching Better BF fight. I like watching all of these guys fight, man. And that matchup, Benavidez versus Bivol, that's, like I said, it's an inevitable fight. It's an inevitability. It is. That fight's going to happen at some point. Charlo called out Boots, who wins? When was the last time Charlo fought? Benavidez ducked Better BF years ago? I mean, you got to pick fights when you can pick them. Benavidez and Zerto are fighting, I believe, March 2nd. I believe that's when their fight is. Hold on, let me pull it up. Let me make sure the date is accurate. But I know he is fighting Zerto. That fight's confirmed. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. May 2nd. Sorry, May 2nd. So, I don't know. And they're fighting in Vegas. I might have to make my way out for that fight. I'm not going to lie. Mel fought Canelo. That was, what, 2 years ago? Let me make sure my... Yeah, that was September 2023. That was 2.5 years ago. Yeah, but and you're gonna jump in there against somebody like Boots? You got me fucked up, bro. I like Jermell Charlo. I really, really do. I respect him. I respect the shit out of the Charlo brothers, bro. Very, very good boxers. I just don't think that's a good fight for him to take coming back. I don't think that's a good fight for him to, because he would have he would have everything to lose. He would. As long as these guys' next fights aren't them being minus 1,000 favorites, I'm happy. I agree with you, Tejo. Excuse me. I'm looking forward to seeing Shakur Stevenson's shoulder roll at work. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Teofimo Lopez. I think they are. I think they are sleeping on Teo a lot. I think it's going to be a lot closer of a fight than people think. Do I think Shakur is going to win? I do, but I think people are sleeping on Teo. By the way, Eugene, what's going on? Hey, are you looking forward to the UFC event this weekend? David did duck Better BF and Bivol years ago. That's true. Yo, CW, what's good? Welcome to the stream, man. But, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. It's what's happening now. You think Fundora versus Thurman is going to end up happening? I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that fight. Ironically enough, I was supposed to go to that fight, so I'm glad I didn't buy the tickets to go to that fight. And I just didn't end up going in general, but I haven't heard anything about that fight getting rebooked. Oh, MSN had something about a new date. Hold on, I'm reading. It says early 2026. They haven't actually set a date. Yeah, they haven't set a date, but I guess they're still in talks to make it happen. So I'm assuming. I'll show you. Here, let me just hide my screen capture right here. Look, it says it's being targeted for early 2026. So I assume that it's still happening. It still just shocks me how fucking tall Sebastian Fundora is, bro. It really, really does. PBC fighters are always on vacation to relax part time. I watched the Yard fight again, and when Benavidez got mad, he threw some crazy. Yeah, he did. He did, man. He did. And Anthony Yard is no slouch, bro. He's no slouch. Jermell literally just called out Boots. This shit's crazy. Facts, Tio has the tools to outbox Shakur. Yeah, he does. He does. UFC 6 trailer this weekend. I don't know. I seen Prioxis posted a video up about that. I don't know. From what I've been hearing with the rumbles of when we should be expecting UFC 6 to drop, I heard somewhere around March. So it would make sense. Could we potentially get it? Yes. It's gonna happen at some point this year, though. It was postponed in October and it's supposed to be earlier this year. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hearing. Definitely a dangerous fight for Shakur. Yeah, Shakur's got to be on his P's and Q's. I got to imagine Thurman is going to get whipped if they do fight. I don't know, bro. Yeah, I'm looking forward to subscribe to these programs, Paramount and DAZN, for the Lopez fight. I fuck with it. I had already had a Paramount Plus account, so I was like, all right, cool. It ain't nothing to me. I've already been subscribed. Because a lot of the football games would be on Paramount Plus, so I just got to keep doing my subscription. That's it. I ain't got to do nothing extra. Nothing extra at all. Jermell has waited so long that now 154 is stacked, and if he comes back and he doesn't fight decent competition, it will be viewed as a big disappointment. Got to be a credible name for the comeback. I agree with you, but bit by bit, Boots Ennis is not the one to do it. Boots Ennis is not the one to do it against. Yo, what's good, LP? Outbox Shakur is crazy. He is going to be able to outbox him in moments. He's not going to completely outbox him, but there is going to be moments where Tio is going to find some success against Shakur. It's not going to be a landslide, bro. And I don't think anybody is anticipating or expecting it to be a landslide of a fight by Shakur. Do I think Shakur is going to win? Yes, because Shakur's defense and his timing and his boxing IQ, I think he's just going to be able to figure out Tio and get him to make more mistakes. But Tio, in moments, I feel like is going to be able to... He's going to have his moments against Shakur as well. Not saying that they're going to be big moments where he even gets a knockdown, but he'll land his shots too. Teofimo Lopez is a skilled fighter as well. Especially if the Tio that fought like Lomachenko shows up, or Tio is on point. I feel like it's gonna be a good fight. Boots versus Mel might be closer than people think. A lot of these guys be overhyped and not fighting nobody, Boots included. I agree with it from that standpoint. I see what you're saying, but at the same time, that would be if Mel had been fighting. Jermell hasn't fought since September 30th of 2023. That's over 2 years ago. So for you to come back and your reintroduction fight or your ring rust knockoff fight to be against Boots Ennis, that's a little tough. Jermell could do it, but I just wouldn't. I wouldn't say. I'd just say it like this. I don't think that's a fight that I would want to see him fight. But again, skill set for skill set. Mel is good, man. He's really, really fucking good. But that layoff is just my worry for him a little bit. I can see a TO knockdown. I don't know. I think Shakur beats him with a jab in the first half of the fight. I mean, we're going to see, man. We are going to see. LP, where you at? I'm with you on the inactivity. Yeah. But if they were both active, like if Mel was active, yeah, fuck it. You feel what I'm saying? Fuck it. But Mel hasn't been active. Neither has Maul, really. Because when was Jamal's last fight? Let me see. But Jamal, we know has been linked to Caleb Plant. Yeah, he fought in 2025. He fought on May 31st of 2025. Which I feel like Jamal would have already fought. Him and Caleb Plant would have fought if Caleb Plant would have won his last fight. But Caleb lost, so I think that kind of put the halt on those when he lost to Armando Resendez. Yo, Allen versus Silva is going to be interesting. That fight is... I don't know how that fight's going to go because Arnold Allen is a solid boxer. Jean Silva he's an all-around striker. So I could see Silva kicking those legs. I could see him kicking those legs for sure. So I don't really know how that fight's going to go. That's a toss-up to me. I'm personally just not high on a lot of these new fighters. They all talk and are more businessmen than fighters. Yeah, they got they're trying to make their money, man. I'm chilling, bro. You got to get in on these chats, bro. Speaking of the Charlo brothers, what about Jamal versus Plant at 168? I see Jamal by UD, but that fight has bad blood. Look, I'm going to tell you like this, man. I love Caleb Plant. I love watching him box. The brother's story is crazy. I love Caleb Plant. Anytime Caleb Plant fights, I'm watching it. No lie. My issue with Caleb Plant is not my issue with him. My fear for Caleb Plant is he gasses out almost in every fight, man. That's what gets him in trouble, is he fades in the later rounds. That's what got him in trouble against Resendez. Because Resendez is one of those guys like Duarte. Those guys just walk forward and they're pressuring the shit out of you. They do. They pressure the shit out of you. Like, case in point, Hernandez did to Nakatani. They just pressure the shit out of you and they walk through punches. It just gasses you out. It does, man. So do I think skill for skill? Yeah. Jamal and Caleb Plant, I think is a crazy good fight. It's a crazy good fight. My thing would be for Caleb is, will his cardio hold up? But I think that's a really good fight. Charlo about to get his get back versus Plant for that slap. I mean, who knows, man? Who knows? Caleb might get him too, bro. That's what we love about boxing. We don't know. With the reach of social media, you got so many. Yeah. It's just the way it goes. Can I ask you, everyone, what was the best punch William Zepeda landed against Shakur? I'm with fighters getting paid, but you got to put some work in. Guys be wanting a retirement check and don't have any halfway decent wins. I get that. But at the same time, they're just trying to make their money, man. Which I fully understand. They're the ones that are getting punched and hit in the face and, potentially getting brain damage. So who am I to tell people, oh, you need to go get more brain damage before you stack up money? I ain't doing that. Go get your money, bro. Go get your motherfucking money. No lie. I ain't hating on you at all. Hold on real quick, guys. But yeah, no. I don't know, man. I hope we see Jamal versus Caleb Plant this year. That would be a dope fight. That'd be a really, really dope fight. What's crazy going back to Fundora versus Thurman was I was really hyped to see Fundora versus Thurman, but I was also hyped to see that O'Shaquie Foster Stephen Fulton fight. I'm really excited to see O'Shaquie Foster fight again. If y'all didn't see what O'Shaquie Foster did to Stephen Fulton, y'all need to go rewatch that brother. He's nice. O'Shaquie is nice. One of the craziest fights that I've ever seen too, man. Like Stephen Fulton misses weight at one weight class, and then they give him a title shot or put him in contention to be an interim at another weight class. That was crazy. I've never seen that. I ain't never seen that. Maybe y'all have. Y'all can remind me if there's a fight that happened in. Please remind me. But I've never seen that. I don't remember that. But I mean, everything kind of worked out, you know, because O'Shaquie Foster was able to win that fight. But I was gonna go to the Fundora fight, but I know one of them would pull out. I mean, I think that they, you know, at one point in time they were targeting that fight to actually be the co-main event to Rolly Romero and Manny Pacquiao. I don't know if that fight's still in play, Rolly Romero and Manny Pacquiao, but if so, Rolly needs to wait for that fight. Rolly needs to play his cards right. I made a video talking about what I thought Rolly Romero should do, and I honestly think that he should do that. If he's going to fight Manny Pacquiao, if Manny Pacquiao is on the table for Rolly Romero, he needs to wait and fight Manny Pacquiao. That's a money fight right there. I like Fundora, but he's been moving funny recently. How's he moving funny? He got injured. He would have fought Keith Thurman. How is he moving funny? By the way, guys, before we get too far back into boxing, for those of you guys that came in here for the second half of, you know, what I said, I'm looking to host an Undisputed tournament live on my channel. I don't have all the details yet for you guys, but I'm looking and I'm thinking it's going to be into February, towards the middle to late part of February is when I'm wanting to do this tournament. Now, once I hammer out all the details and I hammer out everything, I'll let you guys know. But middle to late February is when I'm wanting to do an Undisputed tournament. Now, with this mod coming out, I'm really, really liking the way that the mod is played. I like the feel of it. I like the angle cutting. I like the way that the mod... So if they're able to get the mod out before February... but actually, you know what? I'm not going to say that because I'm not trying to cut out my console people. So the tournament will be on the regular Undisputed. As I just thought about it, I don't want my Undisputed tournament to be... I don't want it to be exclude my console people, because I know a lot of the people on my channel play Undisputed on console. There's a percentage of you guys that play it on PC as well, but I don't want to exclude the console people. So the first tournament that I do will be on the regular Undisputed. Yo, what's good, Tay? WBA didn't approve the Manny fight. Rolly about to lose to the Mando. They didn't approve it? I know, who is Rolly's? I know he was applying for an exemption. I forgot who the mandatory. Chakram. Makes sense. Makes sense. I know he was applying for an exemption to fight Manny Pacquiao. I didn't know if it got approved or not. Yeah, Rolly's gonna have to take that fight. He's gonna have to take that fight because if he wants to fight Manny, he's gonna need to be a champion. Because Manny's only coming back to fight champions. So if he doesn't, he has to fight Chakram. He has to. I couldn't remember who the mandatory was for Rolly. I briefly seen the name, but I forgot. Any mod critiques? Please don't mention Timu Crawford. We know. Yeah, I've been getting that all day, bro. I've been getting that all day, Tay. Been getting that all day, dog. All day. People still talking to me about Keyshawn. It's crazy work. I'm making this custom model as we speak. Oh, okay, cool. I'm glad, bro. People were just. You would think I was the one that was designing it, man. People were on my neck about it, bro. I'm about to cut my damn head off, man. Hey, I appreciate you, Tay. I appreciate you. Hey, about that other boxer we were talking about earlier, Tay. Is he still dropping? Is he still dropping? I got that that Shakur looking nice. That Shakur is looking nice. Damn, so I got something in my damn eye. Ah, man. But we got a not a big boxing fight coming up, but actually, yeah, I would say a good boxing fight. A good boxing fight that's coming up with Raymond Murtala versus Andy Cruz. Andy Cruz got some steam on him, on his name. He got some steam on him. For real, for real. That fight's going to be a banger. Crooks are cracked out. John Jones just got added to UFC 5. I did see that. I'm actually logged on to UFC 5 right now. I'll show you. I ain't even lying. I'm on UFC 5 right now. I did see that. I did see that John Jones got a new model. Just got home and try to get him released. Hey, if you don't release it, slide it to your boy, man. We can preview it, dog, before you release it. You know what I'm saying? By the way, Tay, I'm gonna actually ask you in chat, bro. And John, hey, by the way, John Jones' name is spelled Jon, not John. But yeah, I did see John Jones got a light heavyweight. John Jones. It don't even matter. People don't even use John Jones like that. The only time you see a John Jones user in UFC 5 is when they're trying to. They come out throwing knees. They're oblique kicking the shit out of you. And they're doing all kinds of goofy shit. They're trying to, they're just trying to clinch you up and stuff. All right, baby. All right, Tay. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. Oh, yeah, okay. That's a voice text. You're good. But all right, my people, hey. Shout out to everybody that came through. Shout out to the 24 people that are in here, man. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to be doing more and more stuff like this. You guys will start to see more IRL boxing videos. Because there's a lot that's going on in the boxing world right now, from Boots to Virgil to, you know, to fights. We're gonna be doing a watch along. I'll be doing a watch along on Friday to the Brand Risks fucking boxing card. If y'all don't know what that is, basically Aiden Ross's boxing card that's gonna have Adam Love or Adam 22 versus Jason Love. We'll be doing a watch along to that. I'm more than likely going to be doing a watch along to either the Andy Cruz Raymond Mortala fight, or I'll be doing a watch along to the UFC event, the Patty versus Justin Gaethje card, because that card's really good, man. Really, really fucking good. You got Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong. You know what I'm saying? You got some good fights on that card. No lie. So I haven't really decided yet. Which one I want to do a watch along to. And I know those of you guys that are on my channel are going to be talking about, hey, you know what? You need to do the boxing one. And, you know, I do love watching boxing cards. I do. But I do love my mixed martial arts cards too now. But, all right, my people, that's going to be it, man. Shout out to everybody that came through. I appreciate you guys. If you guys are new, make sure to slap that subscribe button as well as slap that like button, man. It'd be much appreciated. I will be back on live for you guys tomorrow, and we'll be probably playing some more of the Undisputed mod. But until then, my people, take it easy, be safe, enjoy the rest of your guys' day, afternoon, evening, depending on where you guys are watching this from, and I'll see you.